Okay, so before we make the site, let's just name this piece. Alright, just going to call it site base or something. Whatever you like, and let's center the pivot on it. So hierarchy tab, effective and only, center object, and turn it off. Alright, so for the site, which is this guy right here, it looks like it's two separate pieces, so I think we'll build it in two parts. Alright, for the top piece up here, the easiest way to make that is probably out of a spline. Okay, so I think we'll use splines for that. For this piece down here, we could use a box maybe, and see if we could kind of create that shape. It might be easier to start with a cylinder just because we have this cylindrical shape in the center. Okay, so we'll try that and see if it works, because I think it'll be a little quicker. Alright, so let's jump out, go into the left view. Alright, just so we can see our blueprint there. Okay, and let's go to the create panel, just grab a cylinder, and I'm just going to drag one out right here, because I figure that's that round piece probably. Alright, so just drag one out there, give it a little bit of height. Okay, and let's just say 2 for the radius is probably fine. Alright, let's line it up and then we'll figure out how long it needs to be. Okay, so let's center the pivot on the cylinder. Okay, and we'll just use the align tool one more time. Click on our site. Alright, X, Y, Z, both pivot points, and OK. Alright, I'm just going to hit Z to zoom in. And let's just move this back. Alright, just want to make sure it's going to fit in between our two pieces here on the base. Alright, let's go into the modify panel. Alright, let's say 7.5 for the height. I think that should be fine. Okay, and we'll just look in the left view here and just move it back up into position. Okay, right there. Back to perspective. Alright, I'm going to use, I think, 30 sides for this and 1 height segment. Okay, so let's convert it to editable poly. Oop, not editable mesh, just going to do that. Editable poly. Okay, and let's change the color on it. Alright, so to get the top and bottom, I think I'm just going to go to polygon first and we'll just pull some pieces out. Okay, so let's go to polygon, turn on ignore back facing, alright, just to make it a little easier to select. Alright, so I'm going to find the top, and that's right there. Okay, and I'm just going to hold control and just select a couple on each side of it. Alright, maybe we'll do 7. I think that should be fine. Probably as wide as we want it to be. Alright, let's take 7 on the bottom as well at the same time. Alright, so hold control. Alright, just grab 7. Okay, so even on the top and bottom, and we'll just extrude these. So extrude. Alright, and for this we want to be on group, just so it's nice and straight and not, you know, all whacked out like that. And let's just lower the height down a bit. Alright, I'll say like 5 and hit OK. We can always move it after if we need to. Okay, so let's flatten off the top to start. Okay, so I'm going to go back to vertex, untick ignore backfacing, and just select all the top verts. Okay, and then we'll use the make planar again, and we'll just hit Y. Alright, flatten it off, and let's do the same with the bottom. Grab all those guys and hit Y. Alright, if we look on the reference here, the bottom piece here is really short underneath the cylinder. On this one anyway. If we look on one of our other ones, you can see it looks actually quite long here. Okay, so I think we'll do ours a little longer. And I'm just going to go to move and just pull them down into our base piece. Okay, we'll just go down a bit. And maybe like that. Doesn't have to be anything exact. Okay, and let's grab all the top verts. And I'm just going to move them up a little bit. Taking our look here. Alright, just up a bit like that maybe. And you can see on the reference picture, not from that one, but maybe this one, that this piece here is actually quite angled at the top. Okay, so let's angle these up a bit. Right, go into the left view again. Okay, we could manually move these up and try to get a nice angle on it, but there's a quicker way. So with all those verts on the top selected, let's just go in and add a modifier to this. Alright, so back into the modify list, and I'm just going to go down to the FFDs right here. Alright, freeform deformation, and we'll just put the 2x2x2 on. Okay, and what these do, if you're not familiar with it, is it just gives you like almost a lattice over your mesh. Alright, it has these little yellow verts on it, which are control points. Okay, so if you open up the rollout here, you can select either control points, lattice, or set volume. If you hit control points, turn that on, it'll let you actually select these little points, just like verts, and you can pull them around. And it'll warp the mesh underneath. Okay. and we have 2 in each direction because we used a 2x2x2. And if you'd use 3x3 or 4x4, you'd have, you know, that corresponding amount all the way down your mesh and across your mesh. Okay, but we're only moving this in one direction, so we don't need a whole bunch. Okay, and this also works on you know, an entire mesh. You don't have to do it on a vert selection. Okay, so let's grab all the guys on the left side, both those control points, and we'll just pull this up. Okay, and you can see it gives us a nice angle. Alright, just like that. Okay, and let's turn off control points, close up the rollout, and I'm just going to convert it back to editable poly. Alright, so just like that. Okay, let's take another look here. Alright, you can't see much from this one, I'm just going to close this. Alright, we don't need all these open, I don't think. That one's decent. Let's check this one. Alright, that one's not probably going to help too much, let's get rid of it. Alright, this one is a little different than the other reference picture. Alright, but I think I'll close that. And that one's not really going to help, so we'll get rid of some of this stuff just so it's not so cluttered. Okay, so let's zoom in here. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like this piece is actually pushed in the center, and then it has that other piece stuck in there. Okay, so let's add a couple of loops on this. Alright, so we're going to go back to edge. Alright, we'll just grab one of these guys and ring. And let's do a connect. Alright, we'll do 2 segments, and I'm just going to pinch them apart. Alright, maybe 60. And okay. Alright, we're also going to want to push this in, so I think I'm just going to go to polygon, and we'll just select a couple of these top ones. Alright, maybe 4, holding control. Okay, and I'm going to go down to the bottom. Kind of hard to see here. I'm just going to go into isolation mode, Alt Q. Alright, we'll go around to the bottom, hold control, and just select 4 more, like that. Alright, and then just hit delete. Okay. And then I'm going to select all these guys. Those 10. And I think I'll just delete those as well. Okay. And then we'll go to edge, and I'm just going to select these 2 edges. Alright, and loop them. Alright, we don't want to do all of them. I'm just going to go to the top view and just deselect some of these. Alright, so I'm just going to hold Alt and just drag through. Alright, just make sure I don't deselect everything. Alright, these guys we don't need, and those guys we don't need. And same with these 6 on the bottom, those 3 guys, and the 3 on this side. Just want the 2 sides of the hole selected. Alright, like that. And let's go to move and just hold down shift, and I'm just going to shift drag the edge in to the center. Alright, just to clone the edge. Okay, let go. Let's go back to the left view. Alright, go into wireframe. I'm just going to move it back. Alright, just so it's even with this 4th edge here, because we know it deleted 4 polygons. Okay. Just like that. Alright. Let's go to vertex. And I'm just going to go to target weld and just weld this vert here to the corner. Alright. And same with this side. This guy to the corner. And then we'll go down to the bottom underneath and just weld these guys up. Okay, so we can turn off target weld. I'm just going to select the 2 on the corner here and hit weld. Alright. These 2 guys. And weld. And again, you can always check here to make sure you got them welded. Okay, so just like that. Alright, now we'll kind of have to cap this hole, so let's go back to edge. Okay, we still have our 2 edge loops selected on the inside of the hole. Okay, all the way up and down. And I'm just going to hit bridge. Alright, just to bridge it across and close it in. Okay, just like that. Alright, pretty simple. And we're going to need a hole in here, obviously, because this has a hole. Alright, so let's go back to edge. Okay, I'm just going to grab all these guys here, do a connect. Alright, we'll do 2 segments. And I'm just going to do no pinch, no slide. Hit OK. Alright, then we'll go back to the left view, go to vertex and just grab all these verts on that edge loop on the top and go down and straighten them out by hitting Y on the make planar. Alright, same with this guy, Y. Alright, let's grab both of them and just move them down closer to the circle here. Okay, just like that, and we'll just push this through to create that hole. Alright, so let's go back to polygon and just select this one and control click that one. Do that. Alright, just these two guys here, and we'll just hit bridge just to push it through. Alright, and again, it's not going to match, this reference, very closely at all because this is round and ours is square, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Alright, it's going to look right either way. Okay, so just like that. Alright, and then we'll just soften up some of the edges. Alright, so back to edge. I'm just going to turn on our back facing for this. Alright, we'll just zoom in. I'm just going to grab all these corner edges here. Alright, the front two corners. Alright, so those 8. And just hit loop. Alright, it's not going to loop on the outside, so we're going to have to select these manually. Okay, so let's just go in and control click these guys. Alright, all the way around. And save these guys back here. Alright, just like that, and then we'll just work our way up to the top. Alright, want to get the inside ones as well. Okay, and just go around the top up here. Okay, like that, and then let's select the ones around the hole. Alright, just like that, and we can probably do these guys as well. Alright, so I'm going to grab those two, and I'll take the top one on the cylindrical shape and the bottom one. Alright, and we might be able to just go right around with these. Okay, just like that. Alright, and on the front, do the same thing. Just going to work from the top to the bottom, just to make sure I don't miss anything. Alright, we'll go across here. Get these guys. Alright, and these guys across here. Alright, now on the bottom. Alright, I think that's most of them. So pretty much just the outline of all the shapes. Alright, looks like it should be 176 or so. Okay, and let's just chamfer these. Take it down. Don't have to do this too much. I want the edges to be fairly hard. Take a look up here. Okay, so let's just do maybe 0.07 and hit OK. Alright, I think that should be okay. And we'll exit edge. So just like that. Okay. Alright, so we need to make the piece that goes inside here. So let's go into the front view. Alright. Okay, I think we will use a spline for this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the create panel to do shapes. And I think I'll just start with a rectangle, so we'll grab one of those. Okay, I'm going to start down here at the top of the cylindrical piece, on the inside of our side edges, and just drag out a rectangle that's about the width we want. Alright, so it's going to fit in there. And we'll just go up a bit, like that. Okay. So let's say maybe 18.8 on the length, and we'll do, say, 5 on the width. Okay, and let's take another look at the reference. Alright, so it's rounded over a bit. Okay, so we'll just use the corner radius spinner here, and we'll just go up a little bit. Alright, maybe 0.5. Okay, and let's create the inner hole here. Alright, so we'll use another rectangle. I'm just going to drag one out here. Okay, I'll say this one's 10 by 3. Okay, just taking a look. Alright, I'm just going to go to right click and convert to editable spline. Okay, we'll go to vertex. I'm just going to grab the two bottom points there on the inside of the hole and just move it up a little bit, just so it matches the reference a bit better. Okay. Alright, just like that. And then let's go to vertex, and I'm just going to select all four corner verts and go down and just fillet them a bit. Alright, so we'll go to fillet, and I'm going to click and drag up. Alright, just to round it over and create that oval type shape. Alright, maybe like that. Okay, you can exit fillet and just turn this off. Alright, that should be fine, I think, for that piece. Okay, so let's select the outside one, right click it, convert it to an editable spline, go down to attach, click our center hole piece, and then turn that off. Alright, let's jump into perspective so we can actually see something. Alright, and let's just shell this again. Alright, so we'll put the shell modifier on. Alright, and let's just move it over into position. I'm just going to hit Z. Alright, so we'll stick it just inside. Alright, maybe just like that. And I'm going to leave it covering the hole up just because the hole's covered here. Okay? But that's up to you. If you want to be able to see through there, you can just pull the points up and make it shorter. Okay? But I think that should be okay for this. Alright, so we'll just do one on the outer amount for the thickness. Alright, so let's right click and convert it to editable poly. Okay, and we'll just soften up the edges. Alright, so let's go to edge, select all the edges. Okay, go into the left view. Alright, hold down Alt and just drag through the center ones. Okay, and let's go into the front view and just hold Alt and deselect these guys. And again, if you want to move your edge, you can. I think I'll just leave it in this case. Alright, and chamfer. And again, I'm going to do the edges fairly hard on this piece as well. So I think I'll do 0.1 and OK. Alright, and let's exit edge and just change our color. Alright, just going to throw the blue on there. Okay, and let's exit isolation mode and just see how it looks with the rest of the stuff in here. Alright, so not too bad. Again, it's not exact to the reference. We still do have to add these little knob pieces on the side too. Okay, so we'll say that's good for these two pieces because I think it's close enough and I don't want to spend too much time messing around with it. So let's just do a save. Okay, so let's just throw the knobs on here. Alright, so we'll go to the left view. Alright, zoom in here, and we'll just use a cylinder for this. I'm going to go back to the create panel, standard primitives, grab a cylinder, and we'll just drag one out here. Alright, give it a bit of height. And we did 2 on our radius when we started that other piece, so let's just do 2 here so they match. Okay, and I'm just going to try to center it. Actually looks pretty good right there. Alright, so let's go back to the perspective view and just get it into position. Alright, so drag it over here. Alright, hit Z. Alright, let's just move it in. Alright, just so it's touching the side of our scope, our sight piece. Alright, maybe like that, and we'll figure out how much we want it to stick out. Let's take a look here. So maybe a little bit more. Okay, let's go into the modify panel, and I'm just going to up the height. Let's do maybe 2.5. Alright, and just move it out again. Alright, so 2.5 is probably good on the height, 2 on the radius, 1 height segment, and 30 sides. Alright, and let's convert it to editable poly. Okay, and change our color. Alright, just going to stick the blue on there, stick the gray on here. Alright, so let's take a look. Alright, so they're fairly simple. I think I might actually add a little bit of grip detail to these sides, just to give it a little more detail than the reference has. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do though is just go to polygon and just select this side here, and let's maybe inset this. Alright, and we'll do 1 maybe, and OK, and then I'm just going to extrude. And just pull a little piece out of the side. Okay, let's do 0.5, and OK. Alright, and let's go to edge, and grab one of these guys, and we'll do a ring. Okay, and let's connect it. 2 segments, and I'll just pinch them apart. Alright, let's do maybe 80 on the pinch, and OK. Alright, and then we'll select an edge again. Do another ring. This time I'm going to chamfer. Alright, take the amount down. Alright, let's do maybe 0.15 on that, and OK. Alright, I'm just going to go into isolation mode again, Alt Q. Okay, and let's go back to polygon, and I'm just going to turn on ignore back facing here. Okay, and we'll just go along and select these ones here. Alright, I'm just going to pull these out and give it a little bit of a bump detail. Alright, so we'll just work around, selecting these guys. And you don't have to do this if you wanted to leave it out, you could. I just think it might look better when we're done if it has a little more detail than just being, plain. But that'll be up to you again. Alright, so just work around until we get all these guys. Alright, I want to select that stuff. Alright, just going to check and make sure I didn't select anything by accident. Alright, just want to have a space between each one. Alright, so that looks pretty good there. Alright, so it looks like it's about 89 polys. Okay, and let's just do a bevel on this. Alright, so we'll open up bevel. Alright, take the height way down. Up the outline amount, untwist them. Alright, so let's do maybe 0.1 on the height, and we'll do maybe negative 0.06 on the outline amount. That should be cool. Hit OK. Alright, and let's control click edge. Alright, and we'll grow this 2 times. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the front view. Just zoom in here. I'm just going to untick, ignore back facing, turn it off. I'm just going to hold Alt and deselect these little ones sticking out the sides here. Alright, just those guys on each side. Okay. Alright, just don't need to chamfer these little ones when we do these guys. Alright, so just like that. Okay, and let's just soften them up a bit. Let's chamfer. Alright, we'll have to go really small on this amount. Alright, let's do 0.015 and OK. Alright, and then we'll grab this guy here and the one on the other side. Alright, we'll leave this one for a second. We'll just do one side at a time. Okay, so we'll get this guy, loop, chamfer. Alright, we're not going to be able to go very high on this, else we're going to hit these. Alright, so I might just do 0.025 and OK. And then we'll do the same with this guy, loop, chamfer. You could probably leave that one at a pretty small amount as well. Maybe 0.03 and OK. And let's grab this one on the outside, control click edge, and chamfer. Alright, I'm going to go up a bit on this. We'll round it out a little bit. Alright, so maybe 0.12, hit apply, and we'll just double it. Maybe 0.04 on the second amount, and OK. Alright, and then for the inside one here, it's going to be against the side of our site, but I'm just going to chamfer the edge down a little bit. Okay, so let's select this one, control click edge, and chamfer. Alright, and that looks okay. So we'll do 0.04 and OK. Alright, just like that, pretty simple. We'll exit edge, and let's exit isolation mode, see how it looks. Alright, just gonna hit Z. So let's throw the gray on there. Okay, take a look. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad. And that'll just give it a little more detail than this, where it's just plain. Alright, so that's probably okay. Let's just name it something. Alright, I'm just going to call it site knob or something. Alright, center the pivot point one last time. Okay, and then we'll copy it over to the other side, so let's do that in the front view. Alright, I'm just going to use mirror here, so we'll open up mirror. Alright, and we'll do it on the X, and we'll do a copy and OK. And then we'll just drag this one over to the other side. Alright, just like that. Let's go back out to perspective. Alright, so that's probably good for that piece. Okay, so I think we're finally done back here, and we can finally move on and start doing the last piece up on the end of the barrel, which is the iron sight, and then we'll be done with this guy. Okay, so let's save. Just going to take one last look at the reference picture here, just to make sure I didn't forget anything. And I did. Alright, we have a pin there that I didn't remember, and we also have a screw actually that I forgot about too. Okay, so let's just add those two just quickly. Okay, so for the screws we could reuse any of our previously made ones, so that'll be up to you, whichever one you want to use. I think I might just take one of these guys here off the band, alright, just because we only have one or two of those. Okay, so select it, shift drag a copy up on the Z. Alright, we'll do copy, and I'm just going to change the name and call it maybe sight screw. Okay, hit OK. Alright, and let's move it back into the inside of our sight. Alright, we'll go into the front view here to position it. Right, zoom out here. Okay, so let's rotate it. It's going to go to rotate, turn on the angle snaps. Alright, and we'll just rotate it 90 degrees. Alright, let's also move it down. Alright, want it to be sitting on the surface. And I'm just going to center it on this line, like that. Okay, and let's go into the top view and just make sure it's sitting where we want it to be. Okay, so right, you can see the edges of our little blocked piece there on the band, so I'm just going to kind of center it on that. Alright, maybe like that, and we'll need one up at the other end, so let's just shift drag a copy on the Y down to the other end. And we'll hit OK, and zoom in here. Okay, I'm just going to position it between these two edges. Alright, I'm not going to rotate it or anything because it's not going to matter with this one. It's going to look the same, so we'll just leave it. If you did use a different screw, you might want to give it a random twist. Okay. Take a quick look. Alright, so that's probably cool for the screws. Let's just see if we can find something to reuse for our pin. Alright, maybe this guy here. Alright, let's copy this. Shift, drag up on the Z. Copy it. I'm just going to change the name again, and I'll just call this one sight pin. And OK. Alright, and we'll drag it back to where it needs to be. Alright, just going to check this out in the front view. Alright, let's move it up. Okay, we want it to look like it's actually going through this sight piece. Alright, and we'll go into wireframe here. Okay, I'm just going to center the pivot on it. It doesn't look like I remember to do that. Alright, and let's just scale it down a bit. It's kind of long. Okay, so we'll scale on the triangle, take it down a bit. Alright, and let's check it out in perspective. You should also probably see where it is in the left view. Alright, it's not in the right place. Let's move it over. Alright, center it kind of on our sight. Alright, and now let's go into the perspective view. Just hit Z. Alright, we'll just take a look here. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it just sticking out a little bit on each side. Alright, I'm just going to move it back a bit here. Alright, so you can see it through the inside of the recessed piece. Right, maybe just like that. Okay. Take one last look. It looks good. Alright, so now we're finally done. I know I keep saying we're done with stuff before we're actually done with it, but it's just so many pieces, it's hard to keep track. Alright, but we're done for sure now, and we can move up to the iron site and finally be done with this. So let's do another save.